Hey everyone, QBKing77 here from the AC Syndicate team. Here with the video doing some first thoughts on the newly announced Samsung Galaxy S3. Very anticipated device, that's for sure. I know a lot of people are saying I'm not going to buy this phone because I'm waiting for the Galaxy S3, but it's finally been announced by Samsung. Obviously the international version of it, no US variants yet, but of course we got the Galaxy S3. It has a 4.8 inch screen, which is 1280 by 720, which is HD 720p. Of course, it has a Super AMOLED HD Super AMOLED screen, which of course it doesn't have that plus at the end like the Galaxy S2 does, so it's most likely going to be a pen tile display. And not too much of a big difference there. You definitely probably won't even notice that. Anyways, it comes in three variants: 16 gigabyte, 32 gig, and 64 gig. In my opinion, 64 gig is too much for me anyway, so I'd probably just get the 32 gig if I were to get one. So nice though that you have options depending on how much space you need. It also has an expandable slot for a micro SD card, so you can add and subtract storage as you need to as well, depending on what kind of micro SD card you do have. Also, in regards to the screen, it does have Gorilla Glass 2, so it should definitely be strong. From what I hear, Gorilla Glass 2 is really sturdy and does its job for sure. It also has a 2100 milliamp hour battery, which is obviously bigger than Galaxy Nexus or Galaxy S2 devices, which of course it has a little more power, so it's going to need that extra battery life. So I'm not too sure how battery life is going to be in regards to that, but it does have a bigger battery, which obviously is going to add a little weight, add a little space, but it does have a 4.8 inch screen, so you don't really have to worry about space-wise though. In design-wise, they went with more of an oval shape as opposed to the rectangle. As you can see, I got a Galaxy S2 here and a Galaxy Nexus here. So Galaxy Nexus obviously having the more oval shape, Galaxy S2 having the more square corners. I do prefer to have the rounded corners there with the oval shape. That is my preference. So I'm kind of glad they did that. Obviously some of you might like the rectangle shape better. So it's kind of a personal preference, of course, but that's what they did. Of course, they left, what's interesting is that they still have capacitive buttons. They don't have the on-screen buttons. They still have a menu and a back button, and they have a hard button for the home button. So they left pretty much all the same from the Galaxy S2, of course. So it's interesting they did that. They didn't go with the on-screen buttons at all. So, I mean, it's kind of your preference if you like the on-screen buttons or not. I don't mind having the capacitive buttons down at the bottom of the back, and it's interesting they left a menu button as well, so I'm actually pretty pleased with that. I did miss having a menu button on my Galaxy Nexus, as I talked about in my review of it. US variants will most likely have probably 4, similar to Galaxy S2. Obviously, they were probably not going to have that hard button for the home. That seems to be only for the international version, so that's my guess, is they'll probably change it up with US variants, of course. Color-wise, it comes in white or a blue, no black, but the blue is actually very dark. It's kind of a metallic brushed blue, so it looks very dark, which is obviously gonna kind of mask the black category. So you don't really have to worry about not having a black, as the blue is so dark it could be mixed up as black even. So no worries there. Of course, you got the nice white look too as well. In regards to weight and thickness, it is 0.1 millimeters thicker than the Galaxy S2. So, I mean, it's about the same size. It's pretty much the same size as the Galaxy S2. They didn't get it thinner. That's about the same size. Although it's also 0.3 millimeters thinner than the HTC One X. Obviously, it's probably closest competitor at the moment. So, in regards to that, I mean, it's probably about the same as the Galaxy S2. If you have a Galaxy S2 device, you're probably gonna get about the same thinness. But it also is a little heavier than the Galaxy S2. I believe it's the Galaxy S2 is 116 grams and the Galaxy S3 is 133 grams. So I mean, it's a little heavier. In regards to that, the Galaxy Nexus is 135, so it's a little bit lighter. Probably not noticeable in regards to the Galaxy Nexus. So if you've held the Galaxy Nexus in regards to a Galaxy S2, you know that the Galaxy Nexus is obviously a little bit heavier. So kind of unfortunate that they couldn't keep that lighter feel that the Galaxy S2 had. But the Galaxy Nexus, I mean, really isn't all that heavy. It kind of gives it a more sturdy feel, so it's kind of personal preference again, whether you like that heavier, sturdy feel or just the lighter feel. In my opinion, I do like it being lighter. So I would have wished they kept it similar to the Galaxy S2. But also in design-wise, the back of the phone, from what I hear, people have said it looks cheap and old and outdated. And from pictures, I kind of agree with them. It does seem like it could potentially be a little old and outdated. It's kind of unfortunate that they couldn't go with a new, modern kind of look. Definitely looks like an older phone, the back of it. So, I mean, it's obviously a personal opinion on that, but I definitely feel like they could have done a little something to make it a little more modern and such. So, a little disappointed there with the back look of it. But overall, I mean, the design is pretty good. It's got a nice curvature to design like the Galaxy Nexus, so it kind of seems like they went with similar design to the Galaxy Nexus again. So, obviously, design looks pretty good, especially with that 4.8-inch screen. The Galaxy S3 has an 8 megapixel camera, which is very similar to the Galaxy S2's camera, and obviously more megapixels than the Galaxy Nexus's camera, having 5 megapixels. But it does have some added features such as zero shutter lag, similar to the Galaxy Nexus. You can take kind of consecutive shots, one after another, one after another. It has a nice feature to choose basically the best shot. Has some sensors to determine the best smile and such, the best kind of lighting. So that's pretty cool. After you take some continuous shots, it determines which one's your best photo. So you don't have to go looking through them. It does it for you. So hopefully that works well. You also got HD video recording, of course. It has a flash on the back of it. You can also take still images while video recording. So if you're doing a video recording and you want to take a picture, you can. Very similar to the HTC One X. So it kind of took a little page out of their book in regards to that. So it also has a 1.9 megapixel front-facing camera. Some people just call it 2 megapixel front-facing camera. Obviously, it's okay. I mean, similar to Galaxy S2 as well, so nothing new there. It also recognizes when you're looking at it, and it won't dim the display when it recognizes your face and knows that you're looking at it. So it's a little cool feature, although I could potentially see that being a bit of a battery drain, but we will see, of course. Obviously, you can use it for face unlock as well. So it has a little feature. It's called S-Voice. And what S-Voice is, it's kind of like a Siri competitor from the iPhone, from iOS. And what it is basically one thing it is when you unlock your phone, if you set it to face unlock, I believe it also is going to have you use your voice to unlock it as well. So it's going to have voice command along with face unlock, so it'll have to see your voice and hear your voice that way. See your face and hear your voice. Sorry about that. But it also that'll eliminate the security feature with showing a picture of yourself up to it and it unlocking, so it needs to hear your voice. Which hopefully there's an option to shut that off and only have face unlock, because I know obviously if you're in a quiet area, you don't want to be talking. So hopefully you don't have to have that feature on if you don't like it, of course. Obviously it's a pretty cool feature. But it also, S-Voice in regards to that, is also going to hear commands such as play this music, set basically a calendar event. So obviously there's many different features to it, similar to Siri, of course. From what I hear, it is supposed to be very similar. It also has an S-Beam feature, which I believe is similar to Android Beam on the Galaxy Nexus. I do have a video demonstrating that as well through NFC, but I believe it's through Wi-Fi. So if both are connected to the Wi-Fi, you put the backs together and you can basically share files, share web pages, pictures, etc. So nice feature there. You also have a Exynos 4 quad-core processor running at 1.4 gigahertz. So obviously a very nice big processor, having a quad-core. Obviously some people argue that that's even too much for a cell phone. But what it does is it allows it to be capable for in the future, actually, with future updates and such. Obviously we're going to get there eventually where we're going to need to have certain apps and such needing quad-core processor. Same with OS versions as well. So obviously it's definitely going to help with the future with updates and such. So it's nice that they do have that quad-core processor for us. It also is running Android 4.0 Ice Cream Sandwich, of course, the latest Android version, which I'm sure will be updated as more updates do come, as it does have that quad-core processor. It also has a TouchWiz overlay that Samsung likes to implement on their phones, if you guys are familiar with that. Some people hate it, some people like it. In my opinion, TouchWiz is okay. So from the videos I have seen, it definitely looks pretty cool. TouchWiz, they definitely have some nice added features, animations and such, although some people, it could potentially make it a little laggy. It also includes bloatware. Of course, you don't have bloatware on the Galaxy Nexus. You also don't have any overlays on the Galaxy Nexus. So, I mean, you have TouchWiz instead of that basically stock Android feel, which is okay. I probably prefer the stock Android feel as opposed to the TouchWiz, but TouchWiz is probably my favorite manufacturer overlay in regards to in versus Sense, TouchWiz, and Moto Blur, and LG's overlay, whatever they call that. I'm not even sure. So overall, I do like the device. I mean, it's really great. It's probably not living up to as much hype, especially in the camera version. I've heard some reports that some people thought it was going to be 12 megapixel, have some better features, better image quality. But overall, I definitely think it's a device that you're going to want to look into. Although they did keep a lot of the same features as some of previous devices, such as the Galaxy S2 and the Galaxy Nexus. So, I mean, it's not too much of an upgrade, but it's definitely an upgrade with features and such. You got a big screen, obviously, probably one of the biggest ones out, except for the Galaxy Note, of course, having the 5.3-inch display. So, I mean, obviously they didn't run through each component and upgrade all of them. They kept some of the same ones, but they also have, obviously, a nicer processor. It has the same amount of RAM, 1 gigabyte of RAM, same as the Galaxy Nexus and the Galaxy S2 devices. So in regards to that, obviously you have the same amount of RAM, of course. But overall, I think it's a very nice device. My guess is it's going to be very quick, very snappy. Hopefully battery life is good as well. That's kind of a big feature for me. I definitely need good battery life, so hopefully battery life is improved, especially with that 2100 milliamp hour battery. But that's about it. Let me know what you think. Be sure to leave a comment. I want to hear from you guys. Let me know what you think about this new Galaxy S3 device. Be sure to leave a comment. Be sure to subscribe to me. Follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. All links will be in the description of the video below. And as always, thanks for watching. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up.